Cool, calm and clinical, Kimi Räikkönen was the Iceman who warmed the hearts of Formula 1 fans throughout his 20 years in motor racing, minus of course that little detour in the USA and rally driving. Beloved for his no-nonsense attitude, his retirement from the sport comes with a heavy heart, and his final drive in Formula 1 certainly didn't give us the grand exit that we all hoped for. But here at GPFans, we've sat down and we've discussed our favourite moments of Kimi Räikkönen's Formula 1 career. So hit the subscribe button down below, sit back and enjoy the best part of the Iceman's time in F1. A point on his debut. Australia 2001 and a new face is on the Formula 1 grid. A young Finnish driver sits in his Sauber 13th on the racetrack to start his debut in motorsport's elite class. Kimi Räikkönen saw his first race in Formula 1 go about as well as he could have hoped for, fighting his way through the middle of the pack and helped out by no less than 9 retirements in the opening race of the season. The then 21-year-old set his first real mark in F1 to finish 6th behind the 2 Ferraris of Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello, the McLaren of David Coulthard, Nick Heidfeld in the other Sauber, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the Jordan. Some illustrious names to join in the point-scoring position on his first time out. Brazil 2003. It's very easy to make jokes about driving in the snow and ice and the ability of Finnish racers in Formula 1 to use that experience to their advantage when driving in the treacherous wet conditions we sometimes see on track during a season. But the race Kimi Räikkönen drove in 2003 in the rain of Sao Paulo was up there with some of the most masterful drives in Formula 1 for the touch and control the young 24-year-old used to navigate the damp Interlagos circuit. The race was eventually red flagged after a huge crash involving a loose wheel and Fernando Alonso meeting at around 170 miles per hour on the main straight, but not before Räikkönen put on a masterclass of moves on the likes of Rubens Barrichello, his then teammate David Coulthard, to hold a lead of the Grand Prix. However, the win would be taken away from Räikkönen after it became apparent that a timing error had actually stripped victory away from the real leader, Giancarlo Fisichella, in his Jordan. An appeal later after the race gave F1 the correct result, but the real victor perhaps on the day was the remarkable run of Räikkönen in such terrible conditions. Japan 2005, 17th to 1st. Mastering the wet is one thing in Formula 1, but what about raw speed and power in the dry? Kimi, it seems, has both, as he demonstrated the latter in Japan in 2005. The Finnish driver, still in his McLaren, had a nightmare of a Saturday in wet conditions, qualifying 17th on the grid to start Sunday's race. After his teammate Juan Pablo Montoya crashed out on the opening lap, Räikkönen held the constructors' hopes of points in only his hands and took the fight to the rest of the field, getting the better of Fernando Alonso and Michael Schumacher in individual battles on track while weaving through the rest of the field to achieve an incredible race victory, just 1.5 seconds ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella in his Renault. One of the finest race wins that Räikkönen's had in his career. Australia 2013, a surprising P1 to start the season. Lotus returned to the Formula 1 paddock in 2012, as did Kimi Räikkönen after his spell away from the sport in NASCAR and rally driving. Not many believed the Enstone-based team were ready to challenge for the Formula 1 title that season, and to be fair, they really didn't. But they did raise a few eyebrows in Melbourne at the opening race of the campaign. Räikkönen and teammate Romain Grosjean were clearly the best of the rest in qualifying, behind the Mercedes duo, Red Bull and the Ferraris on the Saturday. But only Kimi could make a fine start in the race on Sunday as he quickly got himself into contention. Aided by a solid drive from Adrian Sutil in the Force India that slowed the likes of Alonso in key moments in the race, Räikkönen was able to make his tyres work for him in the latter part of the Grand Prix, putting the hammer down late on to take a surprising victory 12 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. It was the start of both a very impressive start to the season, with 3 second-place finishes in the next 4 races following that, and the beginning too of a 5-year wait for his next Grand Prix win. Brazil 2007. world champion. I'd love to say the best moments of Kimi Räikkönen's career in Formula 1 have come off the track, because actually many of them have. His iconic radio calls of "it's about time" when he finally ended his 5-year race win drought, or his attitude of "leave me alone and let me drive" to the numerous race engineers he's dealt with in Formula 1 have brought bigger smiles to many fans than the victories themselves. But Brazil 2007 beats everything. A 3-way battle for the World Championship with Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton boiled down to the final race of the season at Interlagos, but Räikkönen in his Ferrari wasn't to be denied. After Lewis faced gearbox problems early on, the door was wide open for Kimi to take the victory. His great start to overtake the British driver put him in the prime seats, and the McLaren driver's issues meant he could only finish 7th, while Fernando Alonso rarely got close to pipping either of the two leading Ferraris to try and take 2nd. Räikkönen calmly overtook his teammate after an error on lap 43 to take the lead and held on for his only and Ferrari's last Drivers' World Championship to date, taking the title by just a single point over the two McLaren drivers. A wonderful career then for Kimi Räikkönen, and we bid him a big thank you and a great retirement with whatever he does. I doubt we'll see him on TV screens as a member of the media somehow. Let us know your favourite Kimi moments that we forgot, or perhaps your favourite radio calls that Kimi has given us over the years in the comments section below, and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with everything else that we do here at GP Fans.